Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. At least 3 large hospital systems across the country are requiring employees to get vaccinated or lose their jobs. But some IU health workers say the mandate is a huge overreach.
It is being shoved down our throat.
Indiana doesn't have a good rail system to connect cities across the state, but many Hoosiers are hopeful the president's $10 billion infrastructure proposal could be the ticket to expanding service.
I believe if people put their back to it, we could be looking at something in 3 years.
And some Indiana officials are leading the push to oppose the teaching of critical race theory in Indiana schools.
What this is doing is injecting the warped politics of the left into our classroom.
Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. State health officials are releasing COVID-19 infection data less frequently as the number of new cases declines. The Department of Health is no longer updating its COVID-19 case and vaccine dashboards on Sundays, calling the daily updates less crucial as new COVID-19 cases in the state reach all-time lows. On Monday, the state reported 140 new COVID-19 cases, the lowest number since the beginning of the pandemic. More than 2.7 million Hoosiers are now considered fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Some employers are telling their workers they have to get the shot or they'll lose their jobs. That includes employees at the state's largest hospital system, IU Health. As George Hale reports, some employees say the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's emergency vaccine approval is not enough to make them feel safe.
The district judge's ruling came the same day as healthcare workers and others showed up to a protest outside an IU Health building in Indianapolis. The ruling upheld the Texas hospital's vaccine policy, which is similar to IU Health's. IU Health is telling its employees they must get vaccinated by September if they want to keep their jobs. Some workers aren't happy about that, and they weren't the only ones who showed up at Saturday's rally to protest IU Health's requirements.
It is being shoved down our throat.
Indiana State Representative John Jacob touted his opposition to proposed bills in the state legislature to require proof of vaccination.
We passed legislation to make sure that governments could not put a passport in place.
IU Health officials say vaccinating their employees is a safe and effective way to protect patients and reduce the spread of COVID-19. They also say employees can file for medical and religious exemptions to the vaccine requirement. The rally outside IU Health's Fairbanks Hall building made an impression on Derek Sauls, a maintenance worker at Riley Children's Hospital.
It's all been said out here on the canal today. 3 hours of speakers, and that's all the help I needed to make my final decision.
Sauls says his father died of COVID-19, and he understands the virus is dangerous. He says part of the reason he opposes vaccination is he doesn't work with patients. And speakers at the rally convinced him of risks they believe are connected to the vaccine.
And I'm not just some Republican kook. I'm not just some religious conservative right-winger. I have severe concerns about my health after taking this vaccine.
The Centers for Disease Control emphasizes that millions of people in the U.S. have received vaccines without incident. Health officials also say the risks of COVID-19 far outweigh potential side effects or complications from the vaccine. Still, according to polls, about a quarter of Americans say they won't get vaccinated. Health officials estimate that more than 13,000 Hoosiers have died from the virus. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm George Hale.
It's been 2 years since Indiana lost 7-day-a-week Amtrak service from Indianapolis. Rail supporters are hopeful a train line will return to Indiana even if it isn't on Amtrak. Adam Pinsker reports it could hinge on the completion of another rail line.
Arvid Olson believes when people work together on a common goal, good things can happen, and that is what he envisions when he thinks of reviving Indiana's passenger rail industry.
I believe if people put their back to it, we could be looking at something in 3 years.
Olson says a century ago, more than a dozen trains per day operated out of Lafayette, ferrying passengers all over the Midwest and beyond. Now Amtrak's Lafayette station resembles a ghost town, with only one train running 3 days a week between Chicago and New York City. 2 years ago, due to dwindling ridership, a second train, Amtrak's Hoosier State Line, pulled out of Indiana for the last time.
It was hard for me to believe that they couldn't get enough passengers to keep that passenger train going from Indianapolis to Chicago.
Fort Wayne Senator Dennis Cruz co-sponsored an ill-fated bill earlier this year that would have established the Indiana Passenger Rail Commission. The commission would have looked at ways to improve intercity rail service in Indiana and around the Midwest. Cruz says INDOT convinced the legislature to nix the idea.
Just having an Indiana Passenger Rail Service Commission, they didn't think was adequate enough because, like I said, every train that's going to take passengers is going to go out of state.
But that doesn't mean future plans for train travel in the Hoosier State have been derailed. In April, President Biden visited an Amtrak station in Philadelphia to pitch his Amtrak jobs plan. It includes a proposed $10 billion on passenger and freight rail, along with dozens of new destinations.
Think of what it will mean for opportunity if we can connect Milwaukee to Green Bay to Madison, Scranton and Allentown to New York, Indianapolis to Louisville, and much, much more.
Amtrak used to run a line between Indianapolis and Louisville in the early 2000s, but there was already rail expansion taking place that doesn't involve Amtrak. The South Shore commuter line, which connects South Bend to downtown Chicago, will soon expand its tracks to accommodate trains in both directions between Gary and Michigan City. And a new spur called the Westlake Corridor will begin in Hammond and extend south. Last fall, ground was broken right here on the Westlake Corridor expansion, which terminates in Dyer, really close to Amtrak's Dyer station. And rail advocates see that as potential for unlocking more rail travel in the future.
Certainly, there potentially could be a joint venture between Amtrak and NICTE to provide that some additional layer of service. We'd have to have some discussions of actually how that's going to happen and where that service that would come up from Indianapolis, if it jumped on the Westlake line, how does it get into Chicago?
South Shoreline President Mike Noland expects the Westlake line to be open in 2024 or 2025. The Dyer station will include at least 900 parking spots for commuters.
If you take a look at Northwest Indiana, we have 4 counties with over 1 million people. We have one rail line that services those people that goes into Chicago.
Noland says a combination of riders moving to the suburbs and people continuing to work from home post-pandemic were the main reasons South Shore decided to expand. Further south, Olson sees the same potential among college students and working adults who may not want to deal with a commute along I-65.
We have somewhere between 225,000 to 250,000 college students in a corridor basically going from Bloomington up to Calumet in northwest Indiana.
Olson believes a thriving rail system with trains leaving at convenient times will keep these students from leaving Indiana to make a living. He envisions a commuter train similar to Florida's high-speed Brightline service with amenities like Wi-Fi, refreshments, and more space to move around, making rail travel an attractive alternative to flying through crowded airports.
You go to Indianapolis and you walk in and you try to buy a plane ticket to go from Indianapolis to O'Hare or to Midway. If you walk in cold, you're going to pay around $400 round trip to go there and come back.
While generations of Hoosiers have grown up with cars as their primary mode of transportation for long and short distances, Olson doesn't think the freedom and independence of having a car is what it used to be.
Can you widen Interstate 465 around Indianapolis anymore? can you widen the Borman, 8094, across Lake County? It says, well, you can't widen it anymore.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
The former owner of a southern Indiana animal refuge has to pay PETA more than $700,000. The organization accused Tim Stark, who used to own Wildlife in Need in Charlestown, of violating the Endangered Species Act. A judge agreed with PETA last summer and ordered the removal of several big cats from Stark's sanctuary. PETA says Stark abused many of the animals in his care.
Tim Stark, Wildlife in Need, and his ex-wife, Melissa, would have to get permission from the court before ever possessing or owning or performing any husbandry with respect to a big cat ever again.
Now in April, a state judge also barred Stark from ever owning or possessing exotic animals. Stark gained attention last year as one of the people in the Netflix series Tiger King. Well, we're only halfway through 2021 and Indiana has already doubled its megawatts of solar energy. As Rebecca Thiel reports, it's also expected to see the third highest increase in megawatts of large-scale solar in the country.
Solar energy capacity is going up across the country. Joseph Rand is with the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, which conducts energy research for the federal government. He says Indiana's proposed growth is likely due to some utilities' renewable energy goals.
Because these major utilities are committed to procuring clean or renewable electricity by a certain year, we're seeing a lot of developers propose new projects to meet those targets.
Rand says solar could also be experiencing more growth in Indiana because restrictive county ordinances have stifled wind energy in the state. But just because there are several large projects planned for Indiana, that doesn't mean they'll get built. The Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory says historically only about 16% of solar energy projects get completed. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
The Brown County Music Center is resuming shows this fall for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic began. Liam Rhymes, Melissa Etheridge, Christopher Cross, Kenny G, and Three Dog Night are just some of the acts that are scheduled to perform. Full food and drink service will be available during the concerts. The Brown County Music Center opened in August 2019. 6 months later, it was forced to close because of the pandemic. The center's director says it's too early to determine if guests will be required to wear masks. That'll depend on CDC guidelines. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Black farmers moved to parts of southern Indiana around the Civil War. They found a safe haven and a path to economic stability. But fast forward about 150 years and black farmers have all but disappeared. Ahead, why some blame systemic racism. And Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is coming to Monroe and Vigo counties. Ahead, we'll tell you how you can get involved in the literacy program. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Stay close to Indiana Newsdesk as we trace education issues all the way from the Capitol to your child's classroom. So many topics that arise each year in the State House affect what happens every day in the schoolhouse. The WTIU News Team is committed to helping you stay up to date with the issues that affect your family's future. Keep yourself informed. Tune in to Indiana Newsdesk, your source for regional and state in-depth news.
She's the White House correspondent for the PBS NewsHour.
It has been a historic and traumatic week in Washington, D.C.
Former reporter for the New York Times, political analyst for NBC, and multimedia journalist at USA Today.
Join me this week and every week for a critical look at this week's top news stories.
Yamiche Alcindor, the new moderator of Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Classroom controversy is brewing across the state as many parents have become concerned about the possibility of teaching critical race theory at schools. Some prominent Hoosier politicians are even leading the charge against the practice. But what is critical race theory? Mitch Legan reports.
George Floyd in Minneapolis last summer set off months of protests and activism for racial justice across the country. Part of the fallout has been the elevation of critical race theory. It's an academic movement that attempts to look at America and its systems through the prism of race and teaches that racism isn't just the result of individual actions. Oftentimes, it's the result of larger structural issues embedded in the country's history. It's been a hot topic at school board meetings around the state.
You can't erase racism by teaching racism.
Conservative politicians have blasted the practice, saying it teaches students that the country is inherently racist, and students can be oppressors or victims based off skin color alone.
What this is doing is indoctrinating them to think that just because of the color of their skin, they may automatically be guilty of something and never redeemable, and that's just wrong.
State Attorney General Todd Rokita sent a letter to the U.S. Department of Education last month, calling it to drop a proposal aimed at funding more inclusive civics and history programs. 20 state attorneys general, including Rokita, say it's a thinly veiled attempt to push critical race theory. And last week, Senator Mike Braun co-sponsored a resolution condemning teaching critical race theory in schools, saying, quote, "Critical race theory seeks to portray the United States not as a united nation of people, families, and communities striving for a common purpose, but rather a nation of many victimized groups based on sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin." The state hasn't taken any steps to incorporate critical race theory into its curriculum, but parents and politicians alike are sounding off on the issue as it dominates the national discourse. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.
And we have now Kevin Brown, the Richard S. Melvin Professor of Law at Indiana University's Maurer School of Law, joining us to discuss critical race theory. Professor, thanks so much for joining us. Let's just start with, critical teaching of this race theory has become a political talking point. Critics say its aim is to teach that all white people are racist. How do you respond to something like that?
Well, thank you very much for having me, given the opportunity to talk about this. Critical race theory actually started about 35 years ago from law professors of color. And we were really just driven by one basic question. We wanted to know why Americans seem unwilling to implement effective programs that would alleviate the massive racial gaps that existed in important socioeconomic differences, even though Americans know that those differences are rooted in our history of slavery and segregation and racial oppression. So if you look at statistics on family income, unemployment rate, family wealth, access to health care, life expectancy, college graduation rates, home ownership rates, incarceration rates, on and on, you'll see that the conditions of blacks lags far behind those of non-white Hispanics. So what we were really trying to do was to understand why it is that, given that is the case, Americans weren't willing to implement programs and policies to attack these differences. And what we realized with it was that Americans had actually come to a point of normalizing their thinking about racial oppression. That in fact, the notion that blacks were much worse off in these social economic statistics was just simply deemed as the normal way of life. So we tried to change that thinking.
So why, Professor, has it now become such a divisive idea?
Well, no, that's an interesting question because, in a way, critical race theory has been around for 35 years. But even before it, in the 1980s, we had the Afrocentric movement and multiculturalism, both of which also created this notion that they were tearing up the fabric of America. So it seems to be more a reality of political grandstanding than anything else.
All right, Professor, thank you very much. We're out of time already. I'm sure we'll have much more on this in the future. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Well, Indiana's agriculture tradition is well documented, from Indy 500 winners drinking milk to county fair midways and local 4-H animal exhibits. Farming is celebrated, but the national conversation around race is largely absent in many rural Indiana communities. That, paired with decades of economic hardship and discrimination, is making a certain type of farmer disappear. Brock Turner has the story.
You'd be forgiven if you drove through Lyle's Station and thought it was like any other farm town.
I grew up here too, and I was fortunate enough to see my uncles farming and to see the other black farmers and to live in this community when it was more of a community.
Settled in the early 1800s, Lyles Station was a bustling community and haven for thousands of black farmers. It offered freedom and a pathway to economic vitality. This land has been in the Greer family since before the Civil War, but over time, the community that once defined this place has eroded.
It was a farming community. There were other gentlemen, at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, to have fish fries and to sit back and they're happy because their crops are in, their crops are growing. That's what it's saying. And so I've been able to witness, not what Dad has, because when Dad was here, this was full black farming community.
Denise and her father Norman are now almost exclusively surrounded by white farmers.
We're kind of, landlocked, to where they've bought stuff all around us, or even the land that my dad lost to the USDA, and they bought it. So they're sitting there waiting for that opportunity to just get the rest,
At 84, Norman has farmed this family land his entire life, but it's becoming more difficult.
You don't see the black farm expanding, getting bigger. They're getting smaller.
Smaller operators, regardless of race, are struggling as margins throughout agriculture shrink. The get big or get out mantra is what many live by. However, white farmers don't experience the racism many black and other farmers of color say is routine. Whether accessing credit, participating in government programs, or dealing with subtle racism in town while working with local vendors, many farmers of color say the problems are systemic. They point to a loan forgiveness program passed as part of coronavirus relief efforts earlier this year. In theory, the program would help, quote, socially disadvantaged, end quote, and minority farmers, but backlash from lenders and a ruling from a Wisconsin judge effectively stalled the program. Leading lenders say forgiving the loans could tighten liquidity and even have an adverse effect. For farmers like Greer, who has already settled his loans, the recent legal battle is just another example of the resistance black farmers have faced for decades.
They've all just about gone. There's nobody to relate to anymore.
USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack admitted during an NPR All Things Considered interview earlier this year there was discrimination in the agency from 1970 through the 1990s. John Boyd, president of the National Black Farmers Association, agrees and says both parties are to blame.
And I want to be real clear here. It took place on the watch of Republicans. It took place on the watch of Democrats. And it took place on the watch of the American people. Everybody's guilty here because we didn't step up and stop it.
He admits he's disappointed with how the program has been rolled out, but believes this resistance is part of a bigger problem.
15 to 20 minute ride up the highway from any of those major cities is the real America. Rural America, where you see Trump paraphernalia flying alongside the Confederate flag, flying higher than the United States flag. There's a real division between white America now and black America, and even a bigger division between a black farmer and a white farmer. You can feel the tension.
Back in Lyles Station, all hope isn't lost. Greer's grandson, DeAnthony, is about to graduate with a degree from Tennessee State University in agribusiness. Before going to school, he envisioned leaving the farm, but seeing the struggle of his grandfather encouraged him to stay in the family business. While he's not sure he'll be getting into the John Deere tractor and planting soybeans, he knows the farm is home, and he believes that's something all farmers, white or black, can understand.
Understand that we want to be out here too. We want the same things you do. We want to be able to carry on family legacies, family land, and be able to grow our own, like I said, legacies as well. So just take into consideration what we want and how we feel.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
And Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is coming to 4 southern Indiana counties. Parents may enroll their children online to receive a free new book in the mail each month until their 5th birthday. The book gifting program is funded through a $1 million grant from the Centerpoint Energy Foundation and will be available in Madison, Monroe, Vigo, and Vanderburgh counties for the next 5 years. Centerpoint was formerly known as Vectren.
We love Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. We've been a supporter of it in Ohio, and so it just was a natural fit to expand it in Indiana.
The announcement was made in Bloomington at Wonderlab Museum's Science Sprouts Place.
If we cannot prepare our children for success in life, we as a community will never achieve our goals.
I met one too many kids who didn't have books in their home, and that's what made me want to start this program and get them books.
He says the goal is to find enough funding to operate the program in all of Indiana's 92 counties. Entertainment icon Dolly Parton founded the Imagination Library in 1995 with more than 1,700 books. As of last year, the program has distributed 150 million books around the world. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.